Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another exciting discussion on all things well-being, Minecraft discussion. This is Dr. Kimberly Quinn, and I'm here today to chat about forgiveness, and not in like a religious way before anybody hangs up on me, and that's up to you if you turn it into that, but just in a secular sense. Forgiveness is just so important. It's just so important. And the other thing is that forgiveness is a choice. A lot of times people think that the heavens part and then, the forgiveness fairy just, drops down with a wand and forgiveness dust or something. It just doesn't work like that. It just does not work like that. So first of all, we're talking basically about letting it go. I just had my Minecrafters about an hour ago, and I first asked them, what is forgiveness according to you, just like in your own words? And often they say let it go, and often they say move forward. Both of those things are true. And often they're talking about, sort of like reparative language, which can work if it's a situation where it's that type of offense or that type of, because of course spectrum of offenses, right? Like a lie was said about you in third grade all the way to, assault or something. So, and also I heard the word forget a few times. So I asked them, I said, have any of you ever heard, that age-old cliche of, forgiveness means to forget. Wow, look at that lake in the Adirondacks, gorgeous campus. To forgive is to forget, or forgiveness is forgetting. And, almost every hand went up. And I said, well, here's the thing. The brain doesn't work like that. It's not just like a computer or even like a DVD player where you can just, delete what you don't want, or just, it's just not how it works. Just not how it works at all. I mean, think about people who experience trauma. The memories do anything but willingly go away. I mean, it just isn't how it works. And I remember way back when I was at St. Mike's as an undergrad, back when glaciers were shifting and the earth was covered in ferns. Had a grand old time at St. Mike's. And I was in an adult children of alcoholics group at the counseling center, which was awesome. And a bunch of us went to Claudia Black was speaking there in the auditorium. And if you don't know who she is, she was, I like to say the pioneer, but she was one, a pioneer at least of the ACOA, or Adult Children of Alcoholics movement. And she was there speaking about her book, This Will Never Happen to Me, blah, 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 blah. She's amazing, like this big little powerhouse. And when she got to this part about forgiveness, I remember just sitting there and standing up or whatever I was doing, probably both, in the auditorium, because I remember bouncing around a lot, with when she got into forgiveness. And she this big, and she just with confidence just came out with her definition of forgiveness. And she said this. She said, forgiveness has absolutely nothing to do with forgetting. It has everything to do with remembering and choosing to move forward. And that is just so important. It's a choice. And it's also, it's not about forgetting, because the brain doesn't work that way. So we can still remember the past and choose to move forward. And then, so just now in my class with my Minecrafters, they did a great job. I asked them, what kind of obstacles get in the way with forgiveness? And they had a lot of good answers. And they said anger, resentment, wanting an apology was another one. And that sometimes we don't forgive because we feel like it gives the perpetrator or offender or just plain wrongdoer a pass. And that's another thing that Claudia touched on, because in no way does it say that the offense, whoever did whatever to you, was okay. It's not okay. And that's one sort of obstacle that's unfortunate, because that just isn't what forgiveness is. It's about consciously making a choice to move forward and just let it go. It isn't about letting, it isn't about saying that whatever happened is okay, because of course it isn't. And that's definitely a big one for people. And it's also huge. Talk about the anger piece, because often we hang on to anger. I'm thinking not solely with people from addicted families, though. Usually a lot of anger in addictive families. It's so important to realize we can hang on to anger because we often hang on to something just because it's maybe all we have to hang on to. It doesn't have to be healthy. The only reason we do anything as human beings, any behavior, positive, negative, whatever, anywhere in between, is because there's payoff in it. Payoff doesn't necessarily have to be positive. So I'm thinking, so let's say so-and-so, adult children of alcoholics, if you're me, I have two, and the person might even be dead, like not even on this earth, yet we're still keeping all that stuff alive. We haven't forgiven that person, just meaning moving forward, or forgiving ourselves for doing the best we can, and that is so important. It's just so important. So there's the anger thing. Resentment, for me, and I just said this to my mind crafters about an hour-ish ago, when I hear the word resentment, I think of like those freestanding barbells that, those big ones. You have to have a spotter and everything, and then all of a sudden you just drop that weight, and oh my gosh, does it feel good to just let that go. It just feels so good. So there's anger, there's resentment, there's the person thinks, or not the person thinks, because they might not even be here, but the idea that whatever offense, even let's say something extreme like sexual assault of a child or something, obviously that's not okay. It's never going to be okay. And so it doesn't have anything to do with that. The perpetrator doesn't even need to know that you're forgiving them, because that was another issue. Again, they may not even be alive still. And then the apology thing. So that said, we obviously don't need to wait for an apology. The apology may not even be genuine or happen at all, because again, they could be dead. They could not care. They could not believe what they did was wrong or whatever. We don't need to wait for an apology. If you get one in a more workable situation where somebody just was, hungry, angry, sick, or tired, like we all get, and said something snarky, and that's all different. Then apology is a great old thing, and open the door up to that one. It's just the whole thing is we can forgive without that. We can forgive without the apology, definitely, because it's taking control back. And I just explained to my students, again, spectrum from here to there. Okay, there might be somebody told a lie about you in 3rd grade, to some dating drama, to all the way to cheating, to all the way to physical, sexual, whatever violation, way over here, right? That this, no matter what, is a gift to give yourself. I'm saying from a secular standpoint, which means not churchy. If you want to make it, if you're Christian or Muslim or Jewish or Buddhist or whatever, go for it. Or spiritual, just plain spiritual, go go for it. But therapeutically speaking, it's just about dropping the weight and letting it go. And so, also with my mind crafters, I drew a big circle on the board, right? And I asked them, how much emotional and cognitive energy do you have in one day to do anything? I said, don't overthink. And so one young man spit out 100%. I said, good for you, right? 100%. So picture the circle there. Picture like a pizza pie. And I started to draw little wedges of it. Okay, so let's say just last week you walked in on a conversation, maybe they were talking about you, or somebody said something snarky to you, and then you were taken off guard, so you didn't have a chance to respond back. So now you're like, if I could have, should have said this, and I'm going to get next time, and all that, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to, right? All the way to maybe something a little bigger that happened a year ago, maybe with a partner or whatever, and then maybe more here-ish with, a parent might have done something, all the way over to here, where it's something that involved, some real severe abuse or even a trauma, right? And here's the thing, if we're thinking about that thing that happened a week ago, or the lie that was told about you in 3rd grade, or all the way to the bigger stuff of, sexual assault as a child, or anything like any kind of assault as a child, or, huge hurts like that. Think about when we say, giving it energy, right? And think about the circle. We only have 100% of our life minutes every day to work with. And if we're giving, a little 5% sliver to some conversation we're reliving over and over in our heads with what we coulda, shoulda, woulda said, and it's over, it's done, all the way to the middle, to all the way to here, even if it's something, super legit that happened to a child, the thing is, that would have a much bigger slice, right? So if we're giving up, 20% on an average day to wrongdoing that was done in the past, or maybe we even did the wrongdoing, we feel we're overtaken with guilt over a mistake we made a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever. Think about the percentage of the amount of life minutes. Like we say, spend our life minutes if they were cash. If you made that 100% into, $100, you just gave $3 to this and $5 to that, and $20 to this and $20 to that for nothing, just burned it up. And now I explained to them, they brought it right in the living room. So let's say it was that snarky roommate or whatever. Now that person's walking around this gorgeous day in this beautiful college campus, and they're with other friends, and maybe they just went to the caf and they just had a big old nice juicy hamburger and a big salad bar and all this stuff. And I asked them, are they thinking about you? Are they thinking what they said about you a week ago or 2 weeks ago? They're all shaking their heads. No, of course they're not. They're outside now walking after their big lunch and after whatever nice classes they just had, and they're living the good life here on this pretty campus. You're the one walking around with it in here. And even if it's something from 2 years ago or 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even if it's a huge thing, right? They have moved in, theoretically speaking, right? Or metaphorically speaking, and they're in here. I call it the living room. So they've got their feet up on your couch, so they're on your couch, maybe feet up on a coffee table, either way. They're in your fridge eating your snacks, and they're watching your flat screen. And do they even know where you are, know what you're doing now? No. Do they care? No. But they're living rent-free in your head. So if it wasn't enough what they took from you, last week, 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, 10 years ago, whatever, now they're taking even more. So think about that. It doesn't make a lot of logical sense. And some people say, well, you don't understand it. The thing is, we don't have to. I do understand, but something that was so long ago, no matter how horrible it was, it's so important to make the choice. Because again, the clouds are probably not going to part and be like bang, like you get hit with like a forgiveness bolt or something. It's a choice, and it might be gradual too. So if we're a little bit more forgiving this morning than we were yesterday, yay, hooray for you. The thing is, life minutes, valuable life minutes, circling the drain when we don't let go. When we do let go, our chances of heart disease go down. We live a longer life. It also opens up our cognitive and emotional space for another relationship, romantic or otherwise. Because remember the pie thing, that whole wedge is now freed up to learn something new, to go, to travel, to anything, be creative. Because all that energy goes someplace else. And also, when we put blockers up, I gave them like sort of the vision of like a brick wall meant to keep potential pain away, or potential future, reliving that or whatever. When we block out the bad stuff with a brick wall, guess what else can't get through a brick wall? The good stuff. And so it's just so, so important. It's a gift we give ourselves, because the minute we let go, the perpetrator or wrongdoer, offender, whatever, doesn't even need to know we forgave them. They don't need to know, because we don't care. We don't care. And obviously with the wild end of toxic over here, your relationship may not be in the cards if it's like an extreme situation with a child and adult or something. Of course not. It's just, and so that isn't part of it either unless that's warranted. So it's a gift we give ourselves, and it is a choice. If we just sit back and wait, for the forgiveness dust to land on our heads, not going to happen. And meanwhile, life is going by. Our life minutes, oh wow, this is so beautiful. Our life minutes are just circling the drain. And so in order to be protective of our life minutes and save our life minutes and spend them like cash, it's so important to let it go now. Forgive. And it's one thing I do, which actually I did a thing on it, I don't know, a couple months ago, which one student brought up, is a fresh start. Each day when I wake up and do my intention in the morning, I intend whatever after my thank yous and gratitude, I'm starting this day fresh. This day, today, has no strings to any other day. Not yesterday, not 2 weeks ago, not 2 months ago, not 10 years ago. Brand new, fresh start. And when you open that up, it's Dr. Jakes who says this, my dear friend Oprah's friend. Any friend of Oprah's is a friend of mine. She just isn't aware, right? Dr. Jakes says, when we hang on to our history, it's at the expense of our destiny. And then you know what? Source with a capital S. Somebody wants to write that children's book. Somebody wants to write that movie, do something amazing, and you're all filled up with resentment and anger. The source is going to go right on to somebody else, because we're all filled up with other stuff. We got to be open like a catcher's mitt. So on that note, let it go. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the gorgeous Champlain College campus in Burlington, Vermont. Have a mindful, light day.